So once we rest down on the mat, allow the weight to sink onto the ground, relaxing the body. Being aware of where the contact is. And when we feel the weight on the mat, when we have the contact, we'll see if we can let go around that area. Let's allow the inhale and exhale to be larger and longer. Having the diaphragm lift off the mat on that in-breath, releasing on the out-breath so that ribs can make contact with the mat. Sinking our sacrum down into the mat as we exhale. Explore taking the arms straight out sideways from the shoulders, releasing the shoulder blades. Allowing the spine to move with the breath. Just relaxed in the shoulders and shoulder blades. Just bend the elbows. Just allow for the possibility of bending the elbows. Keeping the shoulder blades relaxed if we do bend the elbows. As we're breathing in, lifting our ribs, lifting our diaphragm, use the eyes and look down for the ribs. Releasing the head on the exhale. Let's do our last cycle. Whenever we get to our exhale, just moment and hold the sacrum against the mat. Still release the shoulder blades, and then when it's an inhale, inflate the belly. At some point we're breathing out. As we're exhaling, we'll draw our knees in, the hands guiding the knees toward the shoulders. Just adjusting so our neck is long. We're able to look downward. And then we'll take our feet up in the air, higher than our knees. We're going to make circles through the ankles. Just using the hands to help steady, support the legs. Doing circles in both directions. And then relaxing the ankles. And taking the feet in circles around the knees. Keeping our sacrum flat. Get both directions here. And working with the neck to look downward. Just relaxing the feet down. And with the hands on the knees, just position the legs so the sacrum is comfortably flat. And just take our knees in circles. Using the arms, the hands to do the work, keeping the legs relaxed. Using the belly to place the sacrum. And then just bringing the knees about hips width apart, and the knees toward the ribs, but keeping our sacrum flat on the mat. And we'll just lift the heels up about knee height. Slide the hands onto the thighs. At some point we're going to exhale and then push the hands against the thighs against the hands. See if we can lengthen our neck, looking downward. So we'll soften a bit on the in-breath, and new exertion on the out-breath. And our last one. And then simply hold the knees. And we'll let the arms lengthen out, and then relax the grip and let the feet just drop to the mat. And we'll rest the arms out from the shoulders. We're going to bend the elbows, and let's put our right palm underneath the head. So using the hand, we'll get a little tuck to the chin so we can look downward. And then bring the left knee in a bit so the left hand can reach it with the arm long. Just balance the sacrum. And when you're ready to inhale, arc the spine, looking downward as you do. When it's time for the exhale, curling up in the back, bringing the knee and the elbow toward each other. Use the arm and hand to support the head, but don't pull on the head. When we're ready for a new inhale, we'll put our head down. That left hand goes on the left thigh. And exhaling, pushing hand and thigh together. Use the belly to press on the sacrum. And when we need to inhale, release the leg out long on the ground. Sweep the arm out from the shoulder. Bend the elbow for a moment. And for another exhale, we'll bring the knee up so we can touch it. And inhale to arc our back. And an exhale. Elbow and knee moving toward the center line, toward each other. And returning our head as we inhale, shift the hand to the thigh. Use the exhale to push hand and thigh together. Press on the sacrum. Use that right hand to adjust the head so we keep the neck long, we're looking downward. When we need to breathe in, extend the leg. Sweep the arm to the side. And we come to breathing out, bringing the knee closer in so the hand can hold it. And in-breath to arc our back. And an out-breath. We're going to curl up, elbow and knee approaching. And we'll return our head when we need to inhale. Put the hand on the thigh. Looking down, pressing hand and thigh, pressing sacrum. And then releasing the leg long and sweep the arm out to the side from the shoulder, bending the elbow. And now just step the left foot up so it's by the right foot. And then bring the right knee in where the left hand can hold the knee. And for the inhale, arcing the back. And when we come to our exhale, we're going to curl up and bring knee and elbow close. Returning when we're ready, shifting the hand to the thigh. On the out breath, looking down, pressing hand, thigh, pressing sacrum. When it's time to inhale, lengthen out the right leg, sweep the left arm out from the shoulder, bending the elbow if that's okay. And then bringing the knee in again as we're breathing out, holding on. And inhale to arc our back. And an exhale. Let's curl up toward the leg. And we'll return our head. Shift the hand for the in-breath. When you need an out-breath. Pressing hand and thigh. Pressing sacrum. Looking down. For the inhale, sweep out the arm. And then bringing the knee in again. For the exhale, we'll arc our back. Or the inhale, excuse me, we're arcing. On the exhale, bringing knee in. Elbow close. Turning with the breath, shifting the hand, looking down as we press hand and thigh and sacrum. And then releasing, extending the legs, sweeping out the arm. And then bring the knee back up. Hand touches the knee. Inhale, arcs our spine. Exhale, elbow and knee come close. Head returns and hand shifts. And when we're ready to breathe out, pushing hand against thigh, looking down. And then release the leg, take the arm out from the shoulder, and take the right hand from behind the head. And then step up the right foot. And just adjust the back so you can release the shoulder blades. Have the hips comfortable. Just relax the spine for a moment. And now we're going to put the left palm underneath the head. use it to help us see down toward our ribs. Let's move the left knee inward so the right arm can reach and touch the knee. The sacrum's flat here. And when we inhale, arcing the back. And then when we exhale, elbow and knee come close. Returning as we're breathing in, shifting the hand, looking down, pressing on the sacrum, pressing hand and thigh as we exhale. And release the leg out long and the arm to the side for an inhale. And bring the knee back up. So in-breath to arc the back. And for the out-breath, curling up, hand and knee. Bring the head back down and the hand on the thigh. Pressing on the exhale, looking downward. And then extending the leg, sweeping out the arm. And for the out breath, let's bring that knee back in. Arc the back. Exhale. Elbow, knee come close. Returning head, hand to thigh. Pushing hand and thigh together. And then release the leg out long when you're ready. Sweep the arm out. And then simply step that left foot back up by the right. And just adjust the hips. See if we can relax the shoulder blades here. We're going to switch legs. So let's bring the left knee forward and, the right knee comes up. Right hand holds the right knee. And an inhale to arc the back. Exhale, curling up. Elbow, knee come close. Place the head back down, the hand on the thigh, looking downward. Exhaling, press hand and thigh. Press into the sacrum. And then release the leg when we need to breathe in. And to breathe out, we'll draw the knee back in where we can hold that knee flat on the sacrum. And in breath to arc the back. And for the out breath, knee and elbow coming close. For the in-breath, returning the head. On the exhale, looking down, pushing hand and thigh, pressing on the sacrum. And release the leg out long as we inhale, sweep out the arm. And then let's bring the knee forward again where we can hold it. And inhale, we'll arc our back. And then exhale. Curling up. Returning when you breathe in, putting the hand on the thigh. Exhaling, pressing hand and thigh, pressing sacrum, looking down. And then release the leg out long, sweep the arm out to the side. We're going to remove the left hand from behind the head and then step up the right foot. And just release here for a moment. See if we can let go in the shoulder blades. And then bring the knees in toward the ribs. So we'll leave the hands on the ground. The knees are about hips width apart. Find the sacrum flat, find the heels about knee height. We're going to look down the top side of the body. And now let's take the arms straight up toward the ceiling. And press the palms toward the ceiling. And rotate the arms all the way into the shoulders so the fingers are pointing toward the feet, the thumbs are outward. Press up through the heel of the palm. Spread the fingers. So if you can tuck the chin here, lengthening the neck. Internally, get a feeling of allowing the neck to drop down. And then when you're ready with an in-breath, as you're pushing up, bring the arms by the ears and push out. So we want to bring the shoulders, the shoulder blades upward, and at the same time, lengthen the neck and sink it down toward the mat. Have the eyes looking down toward the thighs, the ribs. And move the arms away from the ears. About 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, keep the arms rotated, keep the fingers alive. Gently pressing through the palms. Working with the neck, working with the sacrum, working with the belly. Now let's bring the arms halfway down between shoulders and hips. Still keeping that rotation, still pressing, still looking downward. And now let's bring the arms near the knees, just below, just away from the leg, and press with the palms. And really take this pressing into the base of the neck, up the neck, keeping the neck long, looking down. And then soften, let the hands hold the knees, relaxing the legs. And now let's cross the wrists, so we're holding the opposite knee. And from here, when we're ready, release the right arm and take it up vertical, rotate, pushing up. Bring the right arm down by the ear, pressing out. Touch the left heel and slide out the leg. Now push into the foot and the palm, locate the sacrum, press it down, and then maybe that left leg can float just off the mat. Stay engaged from the hand to the foot, through the core. And now when you need to breathe in, take the leg up, followed by the arm. And push upward for a moment. And then bending the knee, we'll put the hand back on the knee, find the sacrum, lengthen the neck. And then release the left arm, taking it vertical, rotating and pressing upward. And then bringing the arm by the ear, pushing out. Right heel touches and the leg slides out long, pushing through palm and foot. Locate the sacrum, hold it flat. See if the leg will float off the mat. And inhale to raise the leg and the arm, pushing upward. And then bend the knee, we'll put the hand back on the knee. Now we'll do one more, but we're gonna adjust what the ankles do. So rotate the feet so they're pointing toward the right side. So it's like they've turned kind of 45 degrees. And we're gonna work with them staying in that orientation. And when you're ready, release the right arm, take it up, pushing up and bring it by the ear. So then the left foot touches down and extends, toes still pointing off to the right side. Everything else is going to be the same. We're going to float the leg up and when you get that left leg lifted, see if you can get that rotation of the ankle all the way up into the hip. Right foot still rotated off toward the right side, still working with our sacrum. Still seeing if we can lengthen through the neck, releasing the neck toward the mat, having the gaze look down. And then let's come up with an inhale, arm and leg. And bend the knee, put the hand on the knee, release the ankles, maybe flat the ankles around a little bit here. And then when you're ready, we're going to point the feet to the left side and take the left arm vertical. Rotating, pushing up, and then bring it by the ear, and we'll put the right heel down, extend the right leg, floating it off the mat, still having the feet pointing left, so we can get that whole right leg to turn up into the hip, connect to the sacrum. Okay, for the in-breath, let's bring arm and leg up. And then bend the knee, hand goes on the knee. Actually, we'll put hands back on their own knee, relax the ankles. If you want to move around a little bit, maybe a few circles. But when we're comfortable, we'll just relax, release the legs, let the hands do the work of positioning the legs, having our sacrum flat. And then bring the legs so they're touching, and let's roll onto our side body. So once we're on the side, let's set up the knees so they're one on top of the other. They're down below hip height, so the feet can be back in line with the torso. Want to keep the hips one above the other, and just see if you can rest the lower arm straight out from the shoulder. And then we're going to put the top hand on the lower hand, slide it forward, rest the head down. And then when you're ready to draw that upper hand up that lower arm, and we're going to come right across the chest. So if you keep the feet even, touching each other, but let the knees move about as they need to. So that top arm, keep going across the chest, and maybe that arm touches the ground, and then we can open out the elbow. And we won't turn the head, but we'll adjust the head so the neck stays comfortable here. To return, we'll bend that elbow, touch the chest again, and slide that top hand across the chest and down the arm. Not too fast, we want the head and neck to turn comfortably. And slide out past that lower hand if that's okay. And then coming right back and coming up the lower arm, across the chest. Letting the elbow drop toward the ground, letting the arm open out long. And what we want to really make sure here is the neck is comfortable and the tailbone is just tiny tuck. So let's return that upper hand onto the chest, coming across and down the lower arm. And then we'll do one more. So when we've got both arms extended, we double check our neck. If there's a little stretch it would like, we tuck our tailbone. And then we're going to return the top hand, so across the chest, down the lower arm. And give ourselves a moment So knees are back on top of each other. Move the hips down. Get that little tuck in the tailbone. And then bend the upper elbow and just slide that top hand in near the chest, and we'll press on the top hand, lift our head. That lower arm, let's take it straight up. So straight up in line with the torso, we're going to rest the head on the lower arm. We're going to keep our legs basically where they are. Then tuck the tailbone, float up the top knee. And let's do one more. Whenever we're done, just allowing the knees to rest on each other. And now let's change the position of the legs. So we'll pull the knees up so they're out from the hips. We'll move the feet forward so ankles are below the knees. We're going to keep the head right where it is and simply bring up that top foot. Here's our last one. So whenever we finish, we simply want to release, let the legs rest on each other. Get that little tuck in the tailbone. And then when we're ready to here, we're going to lift the whole top leg. So hinge it up from the hip. Stay in touch with the tailbone. So you can get a feeling of the knee just floating up above that lower knee, keeping those angles. Float back down. So not as high as we could take it necessarily. Really looking for the controlled form, especially the form inside the core. And we keep some energy in the belly, keeping that little tuck at our tailbone. Okay, let's just do one more. Whenever we're done, just allowing the weight of the legs to rest on each other. Now let's add the upper body. So we'll take that upper hand around the lower ear, and then we're just going to lift that top foot and then the upper body on our in-breath. And have the eyes only. Look for the foot. Coming down as you're ready. Okay, when we're ready to have our last one. And releasing the head down. We'll take away that upper arm. We're going to change the lower arm again. We're going to pull the elbow in and figure out where to put it. So what you want to do is rest the head on the palm and have that comfortable. So You want to support the head, basically in line with the spine. Get a comfortable place for that hand, and then add the upper hand so the hands are kind of in the same place, and then just let the head drop back. And then pull the feet back in line with the torso. And as the feet come in line with the torso, we get to release the upper back a little flatter. It won't be fully flat. Now, the hands support the head. We're going to lift the whole upper back. Go straight up from the nose. So you've got both elbows lifted and just gently up where you can reach, and then turn toward the lower side. And just keep turning till that lower upper arm and elbow touch, and then turn a little further, keeping the ribs on the ground. We're not trying to lift our ribs, but we are going to come up just a little higher so we can turn further. So these very upper ribs around the armpit, they're off the ground, but the mid and lower ribs have contact. And then just keep turning. So look after what the shoulder and the elbow is doing. At some point, we're turning our face down toward the mat. And look at the mat. And then coming back to the face, rather than looking at the mat, looking forward. And then just the eyes move, turn the head a bit, look for the feet, see if both feet can float up. You can turn the head, support the head. We're kind of on our side, looking at our feet. We're going to put the feet down, and then we're going to let ourselves sink all the way back down. And so keep the sides of the feet touching, if that's okay. Let the knees separate. Let the head rest. So the shoulders, the shoulder blades, they have some weight on the mat. And we can do that one more time. So straight up from the nose, hands supporting the head, lifting the neck, the backs of the shoulders. And there's a natural limit, and when we get that limit, we turn to the side. And as we turn to the side, the lower upper arm makes contact. So the armpit's lifted, but a lot of the ribs have contact with the ground. And from there, we keep rotating, face turning toward the mat. And just keep going smoothly further. Look after that lower shoulder. Don't strain that. As we go further, check the tailbone. And then we're going to come back. So rotating upward to go backward. And at some point, we're kind of on the side, and the face is just looking to the side rather than at the ground. And then let's bring both feet up, keeping them touching, the knees touching. And then rotate so you can look for the feet. And then release the feet down. Melt the upper back down. And once we've got the head down, slide the hands from behind the head. Just extend the arms. And then roll onto the hips, the sacrum. Move the feet apart. Ease the back comfortably onto the ground. Just give yourself a chance to experience. And then let's take ourselves to the other side. So once we get to the side, we begin with the hips and shoulders in line, the feet in that same line, so the knees down below hip height. You want to energize the belly, get that little tuck in the tailbone. Lower arm straight out to the side from the shoulder. Upper hand sliding down, and come to a place where the head can release on the ground for a moment. So let's see if we can keep our feet in contact, and we'll allow the knees to move. We're going to slide that hand up the lower arm, across the torso. Let the elbow drop down and then potentially open out the arm. Don't have to do that. It's often easier on one side than the other. We're not turning the head. The motion turns the head, but certainly be prepared to adjust the neck. We get a little tuck at our tailbone. And we're going to return that upper hand to chest, sliding across. Coming down the lower arm. Coming back up as we're ready. Returning as we're ready. Working at our own tempo, we're going to do one more. Giving ourselves opportunity to release. Stay in touch with our neck and our core. And as we finish our last one, just pausing for a moment. And then let's lift the head. We'll take that lower arm straight up in line with the torso so we can rest the head on the arm. Just put that top palm flat for a moment. So check the hips, a feeling of moving the hips down, getting a little tuck at the tailbone. And then just the top knee floats up. And let's do one more. And when we finish there, just rest the knees for a moment. Let's adjust the position of the legs. So we'll bring the knees up so they're out from the hips and the ankles below the knees. And we'll work with just the top foot lifting, knees staying in contact, head staying down. And our last one. Releasing the legs. Go inside the hips. Place the core. And we're going to float the whole top leg up, keeping the angles, moving slowly enough so that we're in touch with what we're doing inside our hips. Let's do one more. And just releasing that leg when we're done. Now we're going to use the upper hand. We'll take it behind the ear. So now we'll lift the top foot and the upper. Have the eyes look for the foot. And we'll do our last one. And once we're done, let's change the position of the lower arm. We can release the upper hand for a moment, but bring that lower arm in again. Bend the elbow and find a place where to put the arm where we're comfortable on the shoulder. And the hand can support the head. Now we've got the head in line with the spine. And we'll move the feet back, the knees down again. And we'll match the upper hand. And when we're ready, we're just going to drop the head back. So we just want the weight of the head to get down. Still on the hands, but resting down on the ground. The upper back is where it is. So to begin to move from here, go straight up from the nose. So that brings the head, the arms, the shoulders up, and now turn to the side. Turn to the side till that lower arm makes contact. We kind of lift a little around the armpit so we can keep turning. And we carefully turn toward the mat. So we keep weight in the lower ribs. We're not trying to bring all the ribs up. And then we're going to turn back, and we come back about halfway, and then let's bring both feet up and rotate so we can see both feet. And then we'll put the feet down, and we're going to drop the head back. So once they've dropped the head back, adjust the neck as you need to, tuck the tailbone. We're going to do one more. So remembering to lead from the nose. So lifting the shoulders into the shoulder blades, coming up, and then rotate to the side. Lower arm makes contact. The armpit is up, so those very top ribs up away from the mat. Let's just keep turning. Make sure we're comfortable in that lower armpit, shoulder, elbow. Face turning toward the mat. And then rotating back so we're sideways. And turn the head, the upper body a bit. Look for the feet. Bring both feet up. And then releasing the feet down. And then let's melt back. So once we touch the head down, take the hands away. Bring the knees up, and then readjust along the body from the hips all the way up to the head. And pause for a moment to let the body rest in the ground. Okay, so let's come up to sitting. So just rolling to either side and use the hands. We'll bring ourselves up. We're going to swing the legs forward. Just stretch out the legs for a moment. We'll just give them a little shake, a little movement. And switching to circles with the heels, pivoting the ankles around the heels. Playing a little bit with the height of the knees. And then from here, when you're ready, let's pull the feet in and then push them out wide, stretch out the legs. So having some weight in the hands, and as we lean back, as we pull the knees in and move the legs out, be aware where the weight is. So staying in touch with the sit bones, we want to not put weight onto the tailbone, onto the sacrum. And then bringing the knees closer, about hips width apart. Knees are still lifted. We're going to reach down with the hands, reach down around the feet, and just some gentle stroking. Let's see if you can get all the surfaces stroking up into tops of the thighs. Allowing ourselves to move forward as we reach down. Allowing ourselves to move back a little bit. Being alert to the sit bones, keeping the weight on the sit bones. Okay, let's just slow down. And once we've come slower still, we'll stretch out the left leg and bring the right foot up. Okay, let's do a twist. So same arm wrapping around the upper knee. You want to have this upper foot where you can press gently some weight on the foot and feel weight in the sit bones, so you can get a little tuck at the tailbone here. Just generally bring yourself tall. So this free hand, reach it forward, rotate the arm, inhale up, pushing at the ceiling. And then on the exhale, touch the fingertips back. So use the arms and the ribs to rotate to the side. And then put some weight on the flat foot and sit tall. And let's release forward. And then we're going to put the opposite arm around that upper leg. So we want to be able to move our abdomen toward the thigh. And then the free hand, sweep it out and up, just a big arc. Touch the fingertips, and then use the arms and shoulders to start the rotation. Have the ribs turn themselves as well. Lengthen up along the neck. On that backhand, it's fingertips, or it's a flat palm, or it's a fist, whatever works. Just don't shove the shoulder up. So you can bend the elbow a little bit as the shoulder blade moves downward. And keep lifting up. Use the core. Don't just lean onto the backhand. Let's soften and turn forward. Okay, so we'll go back to the same hand on the upper shin. And just for a moment, touch lightly, but as light as you can, to give yourself a little support to work on sitting tall. So it's going to create lots of energy in the core body. And then we're going to take the Straight leg, left arm, that's forward, rotate, push. So we want the shoulder going forward, but we're not trying to lean forward, we're pushing forward. And then move this bent knee in toward the center line just a bit. And on the straight leg, rotate it in toward the center line just a bit. And then push this arm across so it lines up with the other shoulder. So lengthen the neck, reaching up, so the hand holding the shin as lightly as possible. Okay, let's soften and release. Extend the one leg, bend up the other. And then we're going to do the open twist on this side. So same arm has the knee. Find the sit bones. On this straight leg, we can always have a bit of energy into the ball of the foot, so pressing on the gas similarly. And the arm goes out, rotates, inhales up, and on the exhale, drop it back. And then rotate the shoulders, turn the ribs, sit tall, tuck the tailbone, lengthen the neck. Connect to that flat foot, and don't depend on that backhand for carrying weight. It's really anchoring that twisting motion. Stay long in the neck. And let's soften forward. And when we're ready to, switching, we've got the other arm. And here, our first job is to adjust the abdomen toward the thigh. And then the free hand, just reach it out, arc it up. Use whatever the wrist would prefer. Fingertips, fists, however we want it. But use the arms and shoulders to create rotation, have the ribs turn as well. And then use the spine to reach up. The tailbone stays tucked. Lift up along the neck. Connect to that flat foot. And soften and turn forward. So bringing the same hand to the shin and just a little support. And from there, we want to connect into the core. We want to see if we can feel the sit bones. You do feel the sit bones, but the evenness of the weight, the strength we need to create. And then we're going to take the free arm out, rotate. Now that straight leg, angle it in. That bent knee, angle it in a little bit. Push out with that hand, and then come across the body. It's tempting to lean forward, and rather than lean forward, we want to reach up as we push. We push on that flat foot, we push up with that palm, we anchor with the straight leg, and there's just a light touch while we're holding the shin. Okay, soften the arm in, and then bring both knees up, and let's release forward. So we're going to take the arms under the forearms under the thighs. We're going to press down. And just allowing the back to release here. just float the knees up. We'll get the hands out. Bring the knees a bit higher. Now, let's reach this, or take the right hand underneath the left, so you can bring that left ankle over toward the right hip, take the right foot outside of the knee. So this is sometimes not comfortable for this lower leg, in which case, have the legs straight. They're both going to work. So opposite arms going around that upper knee. And whichever side you've ended up working with, we're going to do both. So we got an upper knee, we got an opposite arm, they're connecting. We're going to turn the core toward the thigh, and then this upper leg sink down into that hip. And that flat foot makes some contact. So we'll do a simple twist. We'll just take our free hand, we'll reach back, touch the fingertips, or the fist, or the palm as you prefer, but create some rotation with the shoulders. Have the ribs participate, they're helping turn. Working on even weight through the hips, dropping the tailbone, lengthening along the spine. Release. Come forward, and once we've turned forward, left hand's on the ground. We're going to lean enough to the left so right hip leaves the mat. Push the right knee outward, and then sink the tailbone down. Right hip stays off the ground, tailbone drops down. And then from there, we'll bring our free arm out in front. Now come tall, engage the arm, push the shoulder forward. Don't lean forward, work tall. And stay connected in that right knee. It's pressing out.
Exercise ring close.
So lengthening up the spine, just allow the eyes to sink down. Soften back, we'll let that hip settle down. We're going to undo the legs. When you're ready to, we're going to switch the legs. Again, the lower leg can be straight. Opposite arm around that upper leg. Want to turn the abdomen toward the thigh. On this upper leg, we want to settle into this hip. That feeling of the hips sinking down, both hips. So the free arm's going to sweep out, up and back. And then however we want to work with the hand, ideally we can have a little bit of bend in the elbow. It really helps using the arms and shoulders to create rotation. And then the ribs come along. And keep dropping in the tailbone, keep reaching up tall. Soften, easing forward. So right hand's on the ground. Push left knee forward, lift the left hip. And then dropping the tailbone down. So now the left arm comes out. We're going to rotate, push forward, but reach tall. So we do need to connect all the way up our spine. Lengthening up our neck, dropping down our tailbone. Keep that left knee going forward. Okay, let's release. So, undoing the legs. We'll bring the knees out. And we'll take the forearms under the thighs. So we're going to add some weight to the forearms, making sure we relax the shoulder blades, the shoulders, allowing ourselves to melt forward, releasing our low back. Okay, lifting the knees, and moving the hands. Now let's just cross the shins. So there's one shin in front, we just need to remember for ourselves which one we got in front. And we'll bring the palms together. So get that little tuck in the tailbone, bring some energy into the belly, lengthen up along the neck. When you're ready, just floating up the hands, arms, and the shoulders gently rise. And when you can, bring the hands above the head. And here, see if you can adjust the shoulders so they feel free and the neck is long. And then allow the hands to just slowly float up. And stopping where it makes sense to stop. We're going to listen to the body. Lifting the ribs as the shoulders go higher, as the fingertips reach up. If the palms want to separate, let them separate. Keeping the head lined up with the spine, but let the eyes look downward. And we get to our natural max, and all we want to do is gently from there, just that gentle feeling of reaching, and that reaching all the way from the fingertips through the chest. And see if you can release deep in the core, so that feeling of weight in the hips. Okay, we're going to bring the hands down, all the way down, and then separate the hands. Put the fingertips down, walk the fingertips forward, just melting forward, and then put the palms down. And just release the torso downward. Relax into the hips. And then maybe slide the fingertips just a little further forward. So you can release here, sinking. We're going to draw the fingers back up. We're going to come tall. And then we'll just switch our legs. We want the other in front. And we're going to repeat. So we're going to bring the palms together. We're going to float the hands up. So as you come higher, sink into the hips. As you come higher, bring the shoulders up. Bring the hands above the head. So it's tempting to lean back or forward and to drop the head. We don't want to do any of those things. Just let the eyes rest down. Don't force anything. Just lift as much as you can through the chest, the shoulders, the arms, and sink down in the hips. Okay, let's bring the hands down. And then separate, touch the fingertips, slide the fingers forward, releasing over. So when we come to our stopping point, we'll put the palms down and then we'll work on letting go in the back. And maybe take the fingers a little further forward, letting go. Okay, and then we're coming tall. So inhaling up, sliding the hands. And then from here, we're going to take ourselves onto the back body again. So knees bent, feet flat, just resting down on the mat. And when we're ready, lifting our legs and releasing into the mat. Resting on the breathing. going to move again through our fingers and our toes, moving through our ankles and our wrists. And then reaching out in the arms, stretching down the legs. Looking downward and see if you can lengthen along the back body here, getting a little tuck in the tailbone, maybe pushing in one foot and the other. And from there, we'll bring our knees back up, holding on with our hands and rocking gently. And we're going to take ourselves up to either side, bringing ourselves up to sitting.